Hey guys, how's it going? So Doom the Dark Ages got revealed a while ago and everybody's very excited for it. Or almost everyone, because Harman made a video trashing it that I already covered. And he's making another video trashing it, and it's because it isn't Metroid. Now, I think both Metroid and Doom are really good game series, but they're nothing alike. Doom and Metroid play absolutely nothing alike. To say that Doom the Dark Ages sucks because it isn't Metroid is like saying Call of Duty Black Ops 6 sucks because it isn't Elden Ring. But this is something that Harman likes to do a lot. Whenever a non-Nintendo game is revealed, he will just immediately say it is a steamy pile of shit because it isn't a unrelated Nintendo game. You realize that a Nintendo game and a non-Nintendo game can be good at the same time, right? Like Metroid can come out and be good, and Doom can come out and be good, and they can coexist. One doesn't have to be good and the other one have to be shit. But you know, I don't want this intro to be very much longer. Let's just go ahead and get into this video where he trashes Doom the Dark Ages because it isn't Metroid.
So we all know that Nintendo absolutely won this June game showcase season, right? They stomped PlayStation, they stomped Xbox, they stomped Ubisoft.
I mean, how exactly did they stomp every other showcase? I think the Nintendo showcase was much better than the PlayStation showcase, and much better than the Ubisoft showcase. However, Xbox had a really good showcase as well. I'd say Xbox and Nintendo had the best showcases this year, and PlayStation and Ubisoft's were meh. And this isn't because I'm an Xbox fanboy or whatever. I own every single platform. I can play any game that was shown in any of these showcases if I wanted to.
They stomped like the entire Marvel Ultimate Alliance of other competitors that were coming out trying to sell you on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, right? Nintendo came out and just proved that their 7-year-old console is still like the market leader, and will continue to be so for quite some time.
I mean, maybe they are the market leader, maybe they aren't. I don't know the numbers. Harman, these are things you should show in your videos. If they are the market leader, show some numbers. Because I'm gonna have to keep it a stack solid with you here. Trust me, bro, isn't the most reliable source on the planet.
Which is why you're seeing so many people like adamant that like, oh, Nintendo's gonna replace the Switch soon. They need it to happen so PlayStation and Xbox are in a stronger position, right? So
I think if Nintendo came out with a new Switch or a new console, they'd be in a stronger position than PlayStation or Xbox, because Nintendo Switch, like, for all the faults that it has some of the best games out there. Except the hardware isn't that great, so a lot of the times the performance on those games is less than stellar. In all honesty, if they dropped a new Nintendo Switch that could play all the Nintendo Switch games at 60 FPS and, you know, released a bunch of new games, I'd probably stay on the new Nintendo console for quite a while. And I'd definitely play it a lot more than the PS5 or Series X.
Yeah. It's right now people are coping and seething about this. I talked about this already, but I do think the big takeaway, the big thing I want to talk about now, because I talked about like my general impressions in the Direct. I talked about like, you know, all the great games that are coming out. I've talked about how they're coming out this year. There's a lot of things that I have talked about, but now it's time to talk about like more fringe topics. You know, what exactly is going? Okay, is Metroid Prime 4 going to be better than Doom the Dark Ages?
I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it's going to be hard to compare them because they're two completely different styles of games. That's like saying, is Black Ops 6 going to be better than Fable? Or it's like saying, is that new Mario and Luigi game going to be better than, I don't know, Gears of War?
Yes, absolutely. There is no doubt in my mind that Metroid is a far stronger, more relevant, more successful franchise than Doom.
I mean, would you like to provide a source that proves that it's a more relevant franchise than Doom? I mean, let's not kid ourselves, we all know Harman Smith's source for these sort of things.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
You should honestly edit these long pauses out of your videos, because like, this guy could genuinely become a successful YouTuber because of the amount he uploads. Like, he uploads all the time, right? And obviously some people do agree with him. but your lack of editing kills your videos. Your pauses are long enough for someone to file their fucking taxes. But you know, his point is that Metroid is a more relevant series than Doom, and I like to check these sort of things, so let's go over to Google Trends where we can see how many people are searching for each franchise. As you can see, once again, Harman is completely lying. You know, honestly, I'm starting to think the reason Harman doesn't show sources in his videos is because they'd completely disprove his points. Now, just because Doom is more relevant than Metroid Prime doesn't mean that Metroid Prime is bad at all. You know, Fortnite is the most relevant game in the world, and I don't think it's the best game.
Metroid Dread was hugely successful. Prime 4 will build off of that success. To the point where I honestly expect that like Prime 2 and 3 Remastered will continue to build off the Metroid IP. Will continue like just growing the franchise to the point where like the franchise is no longer considered like niche, right?
Alright, so you were trying to say that it's more popular and relevant than Doom at the beginning of the video, but now you're trying to say that it's niche, so which one is it?
Because this has always been like the real problem with Metroid, right? Is that like the games are really critically beloved. You know, people love them. They are really popular Nintendo games among like the core Nintendo audience. But like outside of that, you don't have a lot of people who pick them up on whims, and you don't have a lot of casual players, and you have this weird tendency among like general audiences to kind of write off every game that isn't Super or Prime, right?
Has it ever crossed your mind that maybe the reason it's niche is because it's only on one of the 4 main platforms? I know you absolutely hate the idea of Nintendo games coming to like PC or whatever, but have you ever considered that's part of the reason why it's niche? And if we take a look at something like Doom the Dark Ages, it's going to be on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and possibly even the Switch if it goes the way of Doom Eternal in 2016.
Like, you don't see the blind worship for Metroid that you see for like something like Doom Eternal, right?
Doom Eternal did not get blind praise from everyone. Actually, a lot of people attacked it because it forced you to play in a very specific way, like using the chainsaw and conserving ammo.
Because Doom Eternal was like pure crap, but you're seeing a lot of people like come out and try to say it was like one of the best first-person shooters ever.
You say it's complete crap and everyone thought it was complete crap, but once again, just like all your other videos, you bring absolutely no sources to back this up. Doom Eternal got an 88 Metacritic score and a 8.8 user score, which is very good. And what's really funny is the fact that the most recent Metroid game, not counting the remaster, got a nearly identical score. So if Doom Eternal is crap, what does that make Metroid? Also crap, according to you.
And one of the best games ever made, and like a really good like way to cap off the Doom franchise. Like, oh, it's the best ever. Like, you don't see that with Metroid. And in a lot of ways, I'm like glad for that, because you know it allows people to time to process these things and play and evaluate the older games and have like a firm, nuanced opinion of what's happening with the franchise and the brand and the developers and stuff like that. Like, Metroid is just, you know, it's better not to pretend that every single thing that comes out is now like the best thing ever, the way that like PlayStation and Xbox fans do. But like,
if PlayStation and Xbox fans claim that everything that ever comes out is the best thing ever, then how come I see a lot of PlayStation and Xbox fans claiming this is a disappointing generation in terms of games? How come when I talk to my friends, they say I regret buying an Xbox or I regret buying a PlayStation despite being fans of those ecosystems?
On the other hand, like, it is kind of frustrating when like games like Metroid Dread do become hugely successful, do become popular. Like, I believe Metroid Dread is the best-selling Metroid game ever at this point, right? And yet, is anybody acknowledging that? Is anybody acknowledging how good it was? How it has like the best antagonist in the series history? That it has like some of the best gameplay mechanics? That it's like really, really endlessly replayable? That it's like that there's all these cool like, again, there's so many like aspects to Metroid Dread that make it spectacular.
People are acknowledging this. Once again, I just brought up the Metacritic score. It got an 88 on Metacritic from critics and an 86 from users. That means that people really enjoyed this game. Every single review I seen for Metroid Dread was praising the game and saying nothing but good things about it. You know, it's a good game. But the thing is, it's niche, so people might not talk about it as much as something like Doom. If you want to know if people praised or disliked the game, just simply go to Metacritic and go to the user score. If people liked the game, there will be a high user score. If they did not like the game, there will be a low user score. Don't listen to critic scores because, you know, situations like The Last of Us 2 exist where there's a high critic score and a low user score, meaning there's obviously some reviews that may have been paid for.
But yeah, like, Metroid Prime 4, I think, assuming it's even just like a copy of what they did with Metroid Prime 1, because Metroid Prime 1 is still better than, like, the modern Doom games.
It may be better in your opinion, but I mean, people really like the modern Doom games, and me personally, I like the modern Doom games more than Metroid.
Assuming Metroid Prime 4 is exactly like the older Prime games, it's gonna be better than Doom, for sure. You know, because those games had creative boss designs, amazing environments, like stellar music, you know, great animations, all these great unique mechanics. Like, Prime just really is an innovator when it comes to first-person adventure games.
But you realize all those things that you just mentioned are reasons people praise Doom Eternal. It had a stellar soundtrack, it had great combat, great environments, it was just a all-around beautiful game, and it forced you to use everything in your arsenal. Doom Eternal also got a lot of praise because it took everything that Doom 2016 did correctly and added onto it and made it even better. You know, master levels, longer levels, better levels. It added tons of shit onto Doom 2016.
Right, Doom, all you do is, like, run around in circles and, like, shoot the same generic enemies all throughout the game, right?
You mean to tell me that all you do in a first-person arena shooter is run around and shoot things? It's almost like you're playing an arena shooter. Also, I brought this up in a previous video responding to Harman, but to say all you do in a shooter game is shoot people is a terrible argument. All you do in a racing game is race. All you do in a platformer is platform. All you do in a puzzle game is solve puzzles. That's such a stupid argument. And you don't just shoot things in Doom. You platform, you change runes, you get weapon upgrades, you swap weapons, you gotta conserve ammo, all sorts of shit.
Casual versus hardcore, right? You know, the casual Doom fan can't appreciate the nuances, the depths, and the complexity of, like, the hardcore Metroid game, right?
I mean, that exact same argument could be spun around and used in the opposite direction. The casual Metroid fan wouldn't be able to appreciate the things of the hardcore Doom game.
But long term, it's gonna have to compete with Metroid. You know, it is going to have to compete with a better game from a better studio, from a more discerning audience, right? An audience that actually respects, you know, quality games and will actually put the time and effort into playing all sorts of things from different developers and different genres.
Now hold on, I'm gonna have to cut you off right there. I swear I remember you saying in a video that you only play exclusively Nintendo games, and anyone who doesn't exclusively play on Nintendo is not a true gamer or whatever.
Enough is enough, right? If you're not playing exclusively on Nintendo hardware, you are not a fan of video games. Right, like something like Doom, you know, the most basic entry-level FPS franchise there is.
No, the most basic entry-level first-person shooter franchise would be something like Call of Duty that takes literally no skill to pick up and play. Doom takes a lot of skill. Even if you're gonna play on, like, the lowest difficulty, a new player might struggle.
Doom Guy is known for, like, one very specific thing, you know, being Doom Guy.
Well, no fucking shit.
And yet the character has no nuance, he has no personality. People don't like the character.
If people don't love the character, then why is he one of the most, like, respected and loved video game characters of all time? I thought people didn't like the character. Also, story and character development has never been the appeal of Doom games. It is a mainly gameplay-focused game. The story of the Doom games could be that the demons stole the Doom guy's butt plug for all we care. We care about the gameplay.
Metroid is an absolutely stellar IP that needs a lot more attention and appreciation for what it is.
And that pretty much wraps up the video. It sounds like he's just upset that people are more interested in Doom or whatever, or it's more popular or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up the video. Peace.